Hey there, welcome to question number 3 for the constructed response unit 3 test. This question is similar to the question that you'll see on the actual constructed response, but it is a slightly different scenario. You can apply the same techniques and procedures to the question on the test to help with figure out your solution. So here in this scenario, it says that Janet and Michael are saving money to buy a car. They need to have enough money for a down payment of $1,200 to qualify for each of their loans. So something I want to just kind of stress, because I don't think it's made overly clear in the actual question on the test, is that the two individuals who are saving money, they are each saving money to do the same thing, but they're not raising money together. So in this case, like Janet and Michael, they each have to raise $1,200 to qualify for their loan. And then in the example on your actual test, the two individuals, I believe they're going on a trip maybe, they're raising money separately to go on the trip. Okay, so they're not putting all the money together. It's two people going on the same trip, or in this case, raising money to buy a car, but they're raising the money separately. So they're each going to have their own car. They're each going to go on their own trip. Okay, so I just want to kind of make that clear moving forward. So in this case, Janet raises money by babysitting, and she's going to charge $14 per hour. So we're trying to raise $1,200, and Janet raises money by charging $14 per hour, and then Michael raises money by dog sitting, and he charges $55 each day for whoever he dog sits for. So Michael raises more money than Janet because she only has enough time to babysit for a total of 80 hours. So that's also some important information for us. So part A says to write 2 constraints to model the problem. Something that a couple people had asked me about, it says that you have to write 2 constraints, but please know that there are more than 2 constraints. So I'm only going to see that you have 2 given, but there are more than 2 in this problem and on the problem on the test. So that part can be a little bit confusing. If you want to write all of them that you see, just because it helps you kind of process the problem, that's totally fine. But just know that I'm only going to grade you on whether or not you have 2 constraints written for this problem. So it tells us to let X represent the number of hours that Janet babysits, and then Y is going to represent the number of days that Michael dog sits. So those are our 2 variables. X and Y. X is 4 hours Janet babysits. Y is for the number that numbers of days that Michael dog sits. So one thing that I know is that Janet raises money by charging $14 an hour, and Michael raises money by dog sitting. And I know that Michael raises more money than Janet. Okay, so if Michael raises more money than Janet and he is charging $55 for every day and his day is represented by Y, and he raises more money than Janet does, and Janet charges $14 per hour, and X is the number of hours for her. So this could be one constraint. I know that Michael, this is Michael, raises more money than Janet does. Okay, that's one way I can describe that. Another scenario, I know that I'm trying to raise this $1,200, so Michael needs to raise greater than or equal to that $1,200 in order to have the down payment for the loan for the car that he's trying to buy. Now, it's not quite as straightforward for Janet because Janet only has enough time to babysit for a total of 80 hours. Okay, so Janet's hours, so her X value is going to be less than or equal to 80 because she doesn't have any more time than those 80 hours. And I could even figure that out further. So I know that Janet charges $14, and if she works the maximum hours she has available, she's going to make a total of $1,120. So at most, that's how much Janet's going to make. So that's kind of all of the scenarios that kind of come to my head right away when I'm going through this problem. So I've come up with 4 constraints, 1, 2, 3, 4, just looking at that information. And there could be a few more that I haven't talked about, but those are 4 that I see right away. So I'm just giving you a couple more examples than just the 2 that are here. So part B asks, can Janet afford the down payment for the car with the money she makes from babysitting? And we want to explain that answer. Well, I kind of started on that idea over here when I was talking about how much money Janet made. So I'm just going to kind of put an arrow down here that this is going to help us here. And since Janet can only work 80 hours and she's charging $14 an hour, we know that the total or the max she can make is that $11.20. So I could say that no, she can't, because her max income is $1,120, and you could even put like why by explaining it on the in parentheses or something like that, or just pointing to the fact that we did the math over here. Okay, so just a brief explanation like that with a little bit of work shown as to how you got that answer is all I need for that. If you still have any questions about any of the examples that I went through, go ahead and shoot me an email and we can try to walk through some things in a little bit more detail. Hopefully that helped, and good luck.